Today on Locked On Red Wings, Detroit opens their season with a dud. Defensive breakdowns cost them in their home opener against the Montreal Canadiens.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And you can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Scotty, the Red Wings let out a wet fart of a hockey game on Thursday night, dropping their home opener 5-1. In a game that he pretty much immediately erased all the good faith and good vibes that the team had accrued throughout preseason and training camp. I feel really bad for the fans. We will talk about the entire game, of course, this episode. Talk about the defensive woes, John Gibson's debut, the rookie's debut. One thing that did stand out to me positively, as well as, mention they play again in Toronto, or they play again against Toronto on Saturday. But before we can get to that, gotta let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Okay, Scotty, when it comes to the difference maker in this 5-1 loss to open the season, open your centennial season against the Montreal Canadiens, what do you think was the biggest contributing factor?
So difference maker, if you will.
Yes, it is. That's the difference maker segment. I'm
Okay.
setting you up nicely on a tee here. So
So I'm going to go with the third pair in this game. It's interesting because obviously it's been a big talking point throughout the entire summer. It was a big talking point in the preseason and camp, etc. And we went into this game with a little bit of optimism in regards to the third pair with it because Aljo had looked good in the preseason. And you're hoping that Hamonic is, new blood, whatever. Like, we don't know what we don't know. We'll see how he fits into the system, etc. And it was a complete and utter train wreck. It was actually so bad that I don't think you can even justify sending it back out there for game two.
they couldn't even justify sending it back out there for the third period.
No, exactly my point. And I really try hard to be, especially this early in an 82-game season, try my best to be level-headed and like, okay, we'll see how stuff plays out. They're not going to lose 5-1 every single game all year. Like there is good to still take away from this hockey game, despite what the final score looks like. And we'll get to that later, whether you want to hear it or not.
Right.
But I think that this was such a catastrophe that I don't think it is an overreaction to be like, that pair cannot be your third pair probably ever again. And Hamonic was just devastatingly poor in this game. And
so was Albert Johansson too, to be honest. They both were.
100%. And Aljo was just really looks like a guy that can't be the best defenseman on a pair, even if it is a sheltered third pair, right? He just looks like a guy that isn't, and that doesn't mean he'll never be, but it just looked on this night, it looks like he was not ready to be the guy defensively on a pair, because it certainly wasn't going to be Hamonic. So, yeah, I mean, they were on the ice for 3 goals against?
-3, and that's when they got shaken up a little bit later after that.
Yeah, so just a devastating performance from a pair that didn't even end the game together, and I don't think that we'll be seeing them together very much going forward.
No. And there's a lot more in this hockey game that went wrong for Detroit than just the third pair. But it cannot be understated how poor their performance was in this hockey game. In fact, the eye test, so everyone watching was like, wow, this pair's been out there for 3 straight goals against. They're getting beat. They got caught flat-footed on a 2-on-1. Or I'm sorry, the breakaway from Zachary Bolduc. It was a great tic-tac-toe passing play between the defender and, of course, I didn't write down who passed it to him. Let me double-check on that. Brendan Gallagher and Mike Matheson to Zachary Bolduc to spring him for a little breakaway because both Hamonic and Albert Johansson and Michael Rasmussen were in the neutral zone by their own blue line, sitting there flat-footed. And so when that pass came across, nobody was in stride to catch Bolduc, who was streaking up the middle when he received the pass. On the second play, on the second goal against, it was a really nice play from Demidov to Newhook, who fed Kapanen across. And again, Albert Johansson got caught being a little bit of pinching a little bit in the offensive zone, and a forward didn't pick up on his pinch and then come play defense, leaving Hamonic alone on a 2-on-1. And then Gibson got a piece of it, but as a 2-on-1, it's again back-to-back plays where you cannot have defensive breakdowns like that. And those are only the ones they capitalized on. There were so many 2-on-1s and odd man rushes in that first period. It was insane. The Red Wings just defensively weren't there at all. And that third period, Scotty, I completely agree with you, was a negative difference maker, but like you could group the entire team defensively. Like you look at the Mike Matheson goal, that was the third goal too, and they all get sucked in super low immediately in the defensive zone. All that Nick Suzuki had to do was like pull up and reverse it to Matheson, who was breaking in late, and Matheson had from the blue line to the high slot to shoot. Everybody was already collapsed down low, and that was something we kind of praised during the preseason. But it's just like, when the regular season starts, it's a different beast, and it was a really, really rough game defensively where every single mistake cost them. And then on the flip side, I'll give you my difference maker. And again, it's going to be another negative one because Travis Hamonic and Albert Johansson, that was a terrible pair. And there was a reason they didn't start the game together or finish the game together, rather. I hope we don't see them as a pair again on Sunday. They need to. This is a perfect opportunity to get Bernard Docker Saturday. Yeah, Bernard Docker some ice time, in my opinion.
Sure.
But anyways, I'm rambling. John Gibson in this hockey game made his debut with the Red Wings, and he got pulled after allowing 5 goals on 13 shots against. And I want to preface this by saying on goals 1, goals 2, goal 4, there was not like, what do you want your goalie to do? Your defense gave up a breakaway. Your defense gave up a 2-on-1, and then a puck was deflected off your defender into the net. There were a lot of goals in this hockey game where John Gibson just straight up did not have an opportunity. He did not have a chance. But the third goal, the Mike Matheson goal, as far as I can tell, he wasn't screened. He was just beat clean. The goal he got pulled on, the 5th goal, he made the save and then froze. I think he thought he had the puck, did not realize the rebound came out, and Slavkovsky just banked it home. And as much as you can say that it's not his fault in situations like a 2-on-1 or a breakaway, it is also fair to say you want your goalie to be able to bail you out in those situations. So while it is completely fair to say this team failed in front of him from start to finish in this hockey game, you can also say he didn't do anything really to help lift the team out of that. Because 5 goals on 13 shots against it's not a good enough of a performance. The Montreal Canadiens in this hockey game had a expected goals for of .75 at 5-on-5. They scored 4 5-on-5 goals.
Yikes.
It's just the team as a whole defensively. You can lump together the third pair, you can lump together the goaltending, you can lump together the entire team defense as just say they were not good enough defensively. Those chances that they gave up, you're not going to win a lot of hockey games if you play like that. Caveat here, this is game 1 of 82. So while it's okay to be upset and mad at this loss, And I feel for the fans who went to this game, and honestly, the fans who didn't go to this game but watched it like us, who were really excited for this game and happy hockey was back. You also have to keep perspective that there's 81 other games left, and in a month, you might not even remember this hockey game. So the season's not over, but it is okay to be upset at the result of this one game.
For sure. And I think, yeah, I obviously agree with that. I mean, Red Wings fans know more than anyone, just 1 month can change an entire season for better or worse. Nonetheless, 81 games out of 82. So, like I said, they're not going to lose every game 5-1. That's not going to be it. But there is obviously good and bad to take out of the first performance. And I think that it's just, it kills all momentum. Like and that's, I think, the biggest frustration, right? Aside from, again, we know that there's ebbs and flows of the season and players will get hot and cold and whatnot. But this happening on opening night, Centennial jerseys, like they had everything going for them, and they completely pissed down their leg. And that is just that's the kick in the gut to me.
The pie in the face on us too, after coming on this show literally 24 hours ago and saying like, oh, this third pair has the potential of being like a pretty solid third pair. Like Albert Johansson could anchor that third pair, and Travis Hamonic's an upgrade over Justin Holl. It's going to be better than it was. And then it's like the worst third pair performance. I won't say it's going to be the worst third pair we've had, but the worst third pair performance we've probably seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
Recency bias is huge there, but it was a pretty remarkably bad performance. Scotty, let's head to segment 2. When we return, we will talk about other storylines from this game that stood out to us. We kind of shotgunned all our negative feelings out here in segment 1, so we'll kind of get into a little bit more of a breakdown of individual performers in segment 2. Stay tuned to Locked On Red Wings. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You're going to love using FanDuel because it gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props, or even follow the live games live. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little bit something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. It took me, Scotty, all of my power in the second intermission to not just go eat a pint of ice cream from the freezer. It was Allison's ice cream too, so she would have been not happy about that.
I'm telling on you.
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. But I was very tempted because I wanted to eat my feelings. It was.
Remember that one time you stole her water and I ratted you out on air?
Oh yeah, I didn't steal her water. I just had it
was her water bottle or something. It was something.
Yeah. No, it was an extra sparkling water.
There you go.
We try to make sure we don't go through all of them. We try to parcel them out until we make it to the next grocery shopping trip. But I had an extra one that day. I didn't want to get in trouble.
You broke the rules.
I broke the rules, man. I took the cookie out of the cookie jar. I took the sparkling water out of the fridge. There we go. A little bit of levity on this episode. Scotty, when it comes to storylines from this hockey games or just things that stood out to you, what do you got, man?
Yeah, well, I guess we can start with kind of the play style, if you will. Obviously left opportunities back door, left the back door wide open and left a lot of the opportunities for Montreal, and they took advantage. I think the weird part, maybe weird, I don't know if that's a descriptive enough word, but the noteworthy part of that was just that Montreal wasn't peppering Gibson with shots, right? They weren't consistently setting up in the wing zone and getting a lot of shots off, but all of their opportunities were high danger breakaways. And so I think that's something, we praise the forecheck and the aggressiveness of the forwards defensively in the preseason. And while that's not like single-handedly what did them in this game, I think it is something that's worth pointing out. Like, that is the pros and cons of playing that style, right? If it works, it works. And you get the puck and you constantly have pressure in the offensive zone and in the neutral zone, and you're very rarely in your defensive zone, which when you have a bad defensive team is obviously the goal, et cetera, et cetera. But the downside is you give up really high danger opportunities, and the back line of your team is often a huge weak spot and something that other NHL teams can really target. So I think that's something. I'm not gonna like overreact and be like, oh my goodness, they need to completely throw this out the window. It's never gonna work, whatever. But it's certainly something needs to be tightened up. And again, a lot of that is on the third pair. That was an atrocity, but like I think that's probably worth keeping an eye on at a minimum going forward.
Yeah, and what was really funny too is like it was such a strange game. I thought they had a pretty solid first period offensively, right? They had a lot of opportunities, and then it just felt like they were getting burned on their own mistakes. You got to make less mistakes. You make less mistakes, you probably win this hockey game. And I think that's something that's going to get tightened up. Like, they're not this bad. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. They had a bad game, they had a bad night, but they're not this bad. They're a better hockey team than this. All the counting stats, and I mean, like, when I say counting, I mean shots, face-offs, hits, block shots, and then you get into the advanced stats. Everything says Detroit was the better team in this hockey game. And it's actually insane because watching the game, I didn't feel like they were dominating the Montreal Canadiens. But then you look at all those statistics, and yeah, they had a pretty decent game. Not that anyone wants to hear that. Not that I agree with it. I'm just saying analytically, it suggests that they should have had a good game. They put 30-plus shots. They only took like 20. At 5-on-5, they had 63% of the shot attempts. They had 65% of the actual shots on net, and they had 77% of the expected goals. So it's like, and that's just the advanced stuff, right? There's so many. I don't even know where I'm going with this, to be honest, Scotty.
But I think that it is fair to point out the reason that those stats exist is to try to articulate what good teams look like over 82 games. It is in a vacuum, in a one game sample size, stuff like this happens all the time. This isn't like an excuse like, oh, they like played well. You have to realize what the stat is telling you. The stat is telling you, again, shots for, shots against, like possession metrics, etc. I mean, the Wings did outshoot the heck out of them for a majority.
31-17 officially. 31-17.
Right. They did outshoot them. They did have the puck in the offensive zone more than Montreal had the puck in their offensive zone, in the Wings defensive zone. And the reason why is because the breakaways were so bad that they scored on all of them. Right? They were such bad defensive breakdowns that Montreal never needed to set up in their offensive zone. They just scored without having to do that because it was on breakaways. And the Wings did have opportunities and did have more opportunities than Montreal, and obviously did not score on nearly as many of them. So, like, this isn't like the analytics tell you that the Wings should have, like, dominated this game. This is more so telling you that over 82, if they play like this, it should, in theory, work out better for them more times than it doesn't. But those analytics are a great tool. They also don't account for if your one opportunity is basically an empty net with no defense, like that you give up, that is, right? Like that is not, factored into a lot of those. And I think that is what we're seeing in this game. The defense was so bad that it actually doesn't hurt them analytically because Montreal just got the waltz into the zone and
they got one shot and it went in.
Right, like got
they didn't need 30 shots.
Ice. Like that's that, and that obviously can't happen, and you will lose 82 games if you just don't play defense. So
on the flip side, the pushback on that, not to push back on that because you're right, but like watching the game in real time, I didn't even think that the Red Wings were outplaying Montreal. Second period and third period on, honestly, I thought that Detroit really struggled on the breakout, really struggled on the break-in. The passes were not tape to tape, and they were losing every race to the puck. They were playing aggressive, yes. They were hitting a lot of guys. They were engaging in board battles, but they were losing those battles. They were losing those races. It felt like Montreal always was a step ahead, and then I get to the intermission, and it's like, oh, they're out shooting them 21-11. It's like, where did these shots come from? I don't remember them, but Detroit's offense, if I'm being honest, it's because it came in spurts. And those spurts came, from the most part, I feel, via one line. We'll talk about that in segment 3.
Wow. That's a pro right there, folks.
Thank you. I knew you wanted to say something too, but I was set up perfectly.
Thanks, man.
Segment 3, Lockdown Red Wings podcast. All right, Scotty, before I get into that, you can, I know you had something you wanted to say, but I felt the transition coming. It felt too smooth.
No, I didn't have, honestly, too much else to add. I think, yes, I agree with your sentiment, and I think that, again, hopefully not every game is going to look like this one, but we can talk positive here. Take it away. We can talk about, some players and lines that maybe looked really good.
Yeah, I thought your third line kicked butt. I really liked the Andrew Kopp, Michael brandsegg-nygard, and JT Compher line. I think they did a fantastic job of just consistently wearing down the opponent in the offensive zone, and I thought some of your best looks in this hockey game came from Kopp, Compher, and MBN wearing down the Montreal defenders behind the goal line, forcing turnovers and getting opportunities out front. I really liked their line in this hockey game. I think they might be onto something, and that was one take from yesterday's episode. We aren't wearing pie on the face for, even though they didn't actually contribute anything on the score sheet, but I thought they played really well together.
I agree, and you're hoping, again, that if that line can even be middle of the pack in terms of offensive production from a bottom six line, you're talking about a group that could be very, very valuable and could, again, make this forward core much deeper than it ever, obviously not ever has been, but that it has been
in the last 10 years.
Oh, right. Over the last, 7 to 10 years. Like this is an opportunity, I think, for them to, for like Compher and Kopp to maybe, I don't know if they'll ever bounce back to like what we initially thought they might be, but to find value and find production. And I agree with you. I think they looked really well. They played really well, and they looked really good. And hopefully that is a line that stays together. Because again, if they can, they're going to be good defensively. They're going to be good, with the forecheck style that, is likely, I would say, going to continue to be implemented at least early on here. I trust them to do that. I trust that line in the face-off circle as well. But, offense is the question mark. So I think that's going to be the big ticket for them to stick together and be productive throughout the season.
Yeah, I also thought DeBrincat had a very good game where he didn't score any goals.
Well, he had a lot of. I think he hit post twice. Like
he hit iron twice, and he had a breakaway he didn't convert on.
Yeah,
and the one time he hit the post, they came back down and scored a goal. So that made it 4-1. When if it had gone in, it would have been 3-2, and could have really changed the outlook of the hockey game. So it was like a really frustrating game to be watching DeBrincat, because that's DeBrincat, right? Like he's going to have some games where he just doesn't have any luck. He had that a lot in the first season with Detroit. But I thought, that second line, when they were on, and that's kind of what we've come to expect from that second line. Power play went 1 for 4. The puck movement was always really, really good. They had a lot of opportunities, but again, that's kind of the narrative of the night, is Red Wings having plenty of chances offensively, not being able to capitalize on any of them, meanwhile getting burned on every single defensive breakdown that you had, not getting a big save. So, anything you want to add there? Or do you want to talk about the rookies?
No, I think we should talk about the rookies. I thought they all looked like they belong, which is really, again, on yesterday's show, what I said almost verbatim I wanted to see. There wasn't a specific point total or statistical achievement I was looking for. I just wanted to watch them and think that, okay, like they belong on the ice. And I think for the most part, you saw that. You certainly saw some lapses. Finnie had the puck knocked off his stick a plethora of times, especially with zone entries. He really struggled in that regard, and the few opportunities he had there. Had a couple of just turnovers, as you mentioned. Nobody was really, sharp passing was not really a thing for anyone, but he was kind of in that, not like the forefront per se, but he certainly contributed to that. ASP, I thought was fine.
I thought their pair, the Edvinsson ASP pair, was really good.
But yeah, I think that Edvinsson I thought was phenomenal. And my favorite of the rookies is the one I haven't mentioned yet. I thought MBN looked, and we already mentioned, his production a little bit earlier. But I thought he looked very, very solid on both ends of the ice, really. And I'm excited to see him more and more.
Yeah, I actually think of the three, Axel Sandin Pellikka had the best debut. Not that it's a contest by any stretch of the imagination. They all looked solid.
5-1.
Right. I do think Emmett Finnie had moments where he looked a little bit overwhelmed by the speed and the pace of the first line.
He also had a good goal-scoring opportunity, too.
Right. He had a good goal-scoring opportunity, and he fed Lucas Raymond a really nice pass. He had a couple of moments where you're like, okay, there's the guy that they have on the top line. Axel Sandin Pellikka also played penalty kill, too. I don't know if you saw that early in the game.
Yeah.
Was on the
penalty
penalty kill.
Loud.
Which was
beyond the penalty kill?
Well, because I know on the Bailey Sports Ticker, they'll put the lines out there, and I was just curious, just watching. I was like, Sandin Pellikka. I didn't believe it. I looked at the screen, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's out there. I was like, wow.
I think
it's fine.
And you've mentioned this in the preseason. I think it was just them wanting to keep, the pair together as much as possible.
Yeah, because every single one of the defensemen in this hockey game played penalty kill time, almost a minute each of them.
Especially because of the blender that happened about halfway through the game.
Correct. Michael brandsegg-nygard, each one of them had a scoring chance, honestly. ASP had like a really good shot opportunity from the right circle and then just whiffed on it. MBN had a really nice scoring opportunity. Emmett Finnie had a really nice scoring opportunity. So they all put themselves in a position to have an impact, but it was their debuts. I thought their debuts went fine. Obviously,
sure,
it's hard to take away too many positives in a game like this, but it's game 1 of 82. So we can be upset, be annoyed they put on that kind of a stinker on the season home opener of the Centennial season. It's all right to feel that way for a little bit, but then don't be afraid to put it behind you and look ahead, because there are 81 other hockey games, and you don't make or miss the playoffs on one game.
And the next one is on Saturday. Let's preview it. What a transition. God.
Good job. You're a pro, man. It's almost like you host your own show on the side.
On the side?
On the side. This is the primary. In my head, this is the primary.
This is the main one, and then the other one's just like a random side thing I do sometimes.
It's his side project. Yeah, they play the Toronto Maple Leafs at home, so it's not going to get any easier.
They mentioned that on the broadcast, dude. Like, what was it? Like 7 of their first 11 games or something are against playoff teams last year. Like, it's not a cakewalk here.
It's not, but I don't care. Like, that's the thing is,
no,
people
I don't.
Are like, it's a gauntlet of a start of the season. I'm like, you got to beat these teams anyways if you want to make the playoffs. So just 100%. Go out there and do it. Especially in the regular season. Like, anyone can beat anyone. I can't stand
when people do like here's the month where you can gain ground and then you can lose ground in the next one. I'm sure we've done that before, and I'm being a hypocrite right now, but like that is not how anybody in the organization or locker room views that. Like that's preposterous. Like you have to beat good teams if you want to be a good team, and you have to play the team across from you every night.
Yeah.
And that's the Leafs on Saturday.
And that's the Leafs. So, a very good Leafs team. I mean, what is their? They're 1-0 on the season. So you're
no Marner.
No Marner, but no Marner, and that let's not undersell how big of an impact that has. But also, they're still a really, really good hockey team outside of Mitch Marner. And they finally found their goaltender in Anthony Stolarz, as we saw in the first preseason game the Red Wings played against them. Stolarz played fantastic. So, I mean, if the Detroit plays offensively like this and not defensively like this from today's game, they'll be in a better position because offensively they had their chances. They just got to bury them. They have just got to tighten up defensively. They cannot be giving up opportunities like they did today. And Gibson, while again, we do not pin all the blame on him, he also has to come up with a big save and help elevate this team.
I agree.
Okay. I hope this was cathartic for everyone listening. So,
hey, we're back, man. We're back. Back in the
we are so back.
Back in the swing of things here, and yeah, obviously extremely disappointing start to the year, but it's gonna take a lot more of those before I'm like freaking out or red in the face or whatever. It's one game, put it behind you, go have a bounce back on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not panicking about the season yet, but I am certainly pretty annoyed at the performance tonight.
Correct. Yes, which is very understood and valid. Your feelings are valid.
Thank you, Scotty. I appreciate that. Segment.
You're welcome.
I don't know why segment.
Segment?
We're just going to go to...
Hey, let's go to segment 4 right after that.
Segment 4, catch it on Monday when we recap the game against the Leafs. Bang. There we go. Saved it. Bye.
Blue ball.